What's going on there, folks? Good evening. Earthmaster here, checking in on the live stream on this, what is it? It's Sunday, June 6th, 2021, about 5:20 p.m. West Coast time in California. Back here in California. Can't say I'm happy about that, but you know what? It is what it is. Latest quake on the globe is a 5.7 striking just a little bit ago, right around the Solomon Islands area. Well south, actually, let's see exactly where that's on the other map real quick. Hard to tell sometimes on that USGS map. Let's see here. If I can get this thing to pop up. There we go. Okie dokie. So 5.7, let's go ahead and zoom into that area. Okay, Kermadec Islands, that's right. For some reason, I was thinking the Solomon Islands area, not for sure. Oh, okay, I see what was going on. I was watching the Solomon Islands station, and I seen that quake come through kind of lightly, but nonetheless, it definitely came through. So looking at this map here so far, a little bit of uptick in movement out here in the Pacific along the Kermadec Trench. Of course, this area did see some significant movement month or so ago, a couple months ago. We had that some significant quakes out here, up here in this region, also down south. So probably looking at continued aftershock activity, but an obvious sign of a switch up in pressure in this region. I do want to check out the west coast here real quick and get into what's going on up here in the Pacific Northwest. I noticed last night after we did the update video from Oregon, a significant swarm happened at Mount Hood. About 55 earthquakes or so within this region of Mount Hood, right at the south base of it. I'm talking like right there. And the depth of these earthquakes roughly it's variable, around 3 to 5 kilometers. Most of them though average out to about 4. There's a couple deeper ones and a couple shallower ones. You can see that one really shallow at the surface. And the largest one so far was at 3.9. They have this set at 6 kilometers northeast of Government Camp. It's down here, I guess. Looks like on 26, Highway 26. Can't say I've been through this area before, but that's going to be changing really soon. So yeah, most of these quakes occurring right after that 3.9, and there's no doubt, I believe this is strictly tectonic movement here in this area. This area has seen some swarms in the past, and so has Mount Rainier, but it's always something to watch, right? Whenever you have any type of movement, whether it's plate tectonic or large earthquake activity in the region, ultimately it's possible it could affect the volcano and potentially stir things up. A USGS people are saying the characteristics of this quake were consistent, right, with past swarms in the Mount Hood area, according to the USGS. Seismologists do not believe that the swarm signifies a change in volcanic hazard at Mount Hood, but they will continue to monitor activity on the mountain. All right, that's good, right? We got to trust those folks in the green, the USGS. They're monitoring it until one day it just rumbles, right? But I strongly believe that plate tectonics there. But like I say, it could always change, no doubt. I wanted to look at where to go. Okay, here we go. The Mount Hood Volcanic seismograph station, if you will. There's a bunch of them around here. I kind of zoomed in on this area, and the closest one I can get to the swarming of activity is going to be this station right here. It's a 3-component broadband station. Let's go ahead and check it out, see what we can pick up. That's just within the last hour, it looks like, right? Within the last hour. So we need to go back to the previous day to see what's going on within this vicinity of the swarming, and this kind of surprises me. Look at that. Okay, so this here is the 3.9 that struck yesterday, and well, I guess this is the 2.6, just a little bitty speck that 2.6 is. So why is this seismograph station so squashed? I mean, as far as like picking up data, why If a 2.6 is just going to make this little bitty mark, we're not going to see anything register up here on 2.0. And there's a swarm of activity going on there. There's no doubt. But it's definitely not being picked up on that station at all. I was actually kind of surprised when I seen that. And if you go a ways away from there, of course, depending on the sensitivity of the seismograph readings, it may not show anything. Or it could show stuff, depending, like I said, depending on the sensitivity. Didn't we just look at this? Isn't this like the same one? It almost looks identical. But I could have swore I clicked on this one. Let me double check, make sure, folks. No, that is the one I clicked. They almost look identical. Why are they being set up that way? Hold on, let's check this guy over here. And see, that one, this one looks identical to the other one as well. What in... Okay. I'm not for sure what's going on there. We'll check one more, kind of a ways away. See if this one will work. Strong motion network. I'm tempted to see if I can key up some local seismographs there. They all look the same. This one might pick up a little bit more. Looks like a couple smaller red dots there. And this station's further away as well. That's kind of odd. That's really odd, actually. Let's check some of these others. Yeah, I'm going to have to jump back into that. I don't want to spend all update video doing that. But the 3.9 definitely showed up around that area. It should, right? 3.9 is actually well, it's a sizable quake. It's a light to, right around light to, you know, maybe low end moderate for a volcano area. As far as tremor goes, folks, there wasn't anything last night. I double checked that. Right now, I don't think they've updated today's tremor map. I don't see anything on it, but then again, it normally updates around 6:30 or so. If there's something significant on there, I will do a re-update and add it on here, but I don't think it's going to be all that active. As far as other volcanoes in the region, it looks relatively quiet. Just a couple small microquakes, according to the PNSN network and the seismograph stations here. Let's check out yesterday, see if we can see any of the activity around Mount Rainier. See, this one's amped up a little bit. You know it's amped up, and let me give you just most of you folks that have watched this stream probably know about the seismographs, how they look. You know, it's most of the time it's little wavy lines like this. I mean, you guys can see that right there. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. These little wavy lines here are basically the needles, if you will, on the paper registering motion in the ground, or vibrations in the ground. And that's what it normally looks like on a normal seismograph that has not been squashed out, meaning amped up, where you can't see anything. You know, it's so flat line. It's so man, I can't. The only word I can think of is squashed. You know, the 3.9 just barely showed up on the well, it showed up on the Mount Hood station, but the 2.6 didn't. It was just like a little bitty scribble, and none of the microquakes did. But check this out. Mount Rainier picking up that 3.9 because this seismograph station is adjusted fairly decent to pick up some smaller activity. And that's what I like to see, because you can see movement. You can check out harmonic tremor. It's a big deal when you're monitoring a volcano to adjust the sensitivity to something like this. Each one of these little spikes are little earthquakes here within this region. Very small ones, but earthquakes nonetheless. And these other ones here, the larger ones, are some of the ones that they mentioned on the PNSN Mount Rainier network. It's a couple of small quakes over the last couple days. Microquakes, very small microquakes, probably under 1. But the sensitivity on this gives you a chance to see what's going on a broader scale, including if there was harmonic tremor, which I do not see anything there at Mount Rainier. I really wanted to see Mount Hood, but like I say, it's so amped up. There's those quakes there around Mount Rainier that you can see on that seismograph. Just a couple of small ones, very small. Look at the magnitudes there, 0.3, 0.1, but the seismograph is amped up enough so that people or that seismologists can view it, and the public can view it. But I don't know why it's so squashed like that. It's kind of strange is the word. Let's see here. Yellowstone National Park. Let's jump into that real quick. Not a whole lot going on there, folks. Looks like, yeah, I really don't see anything significant or even minor at that. Let's go ahead and check out other areas around the Pacific Northwest. Cascadia subduction zone. A couple earthquakes out there in the Gorda Ridges. Built up a pressure right there. You see those ridges. Obviously, that's pressure over time, creating those mountains and hills and whatnot. Couple twos, upper twos at that, 2.9s. So things maybe calming down off the coast of Oregon there. I was kind of worried up here, sleeping up around the Brookings area last night because, man, we're right there at sea level, and that's not good. Cascadia megathrust area sits right here. That looks pretty quiet for now. There's a little earthquake southwest of Eureka, somewhat deep, somewhat into the Cascadia megathrust zone, 2.1 at 17.5 kilometers. So still watching this area with the movement up here to the north last night. And of course, you folks remember the movement to the south down there in Southern California. There was no doubt some major pressure up there in the western part of the states last night, or yesterday and last night. And in fact, I think over the past couple days. I still believe that there is significant pressure out here, but it looks as though with that 5.7 down there around the Kermadec Islands area, that it's just kind of following a little bit of motion there around the plate for right now. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet here along the west coast. Looking at the amount of earthquakes here in the Salton Sea area tells us that we're not. If I remember correctly, last night when I was doing the update, what was it? 390 earthquakes? So we added, it's 463. These are the all epicenters. And I believe these are, let's see here. I'm trying to think when this swarm kicked up. Oh, I know. No. Let me take this back, folks. That's right. This earthquake, that 5.3 struck. Okay, swap that. I mean, cancel that that little downplay of the amount of earthquakes. I forgot this 5.3 happened a lot earlier than in the day yesterday. So we're up to, look at that number, 837 epicenters of earthquakes. 390 was the total last night. So we've added well over a bunch. What, 500 something? Close to? That's a massive amount of earthquakes there, folks, in this region, okay? Look at the, look at the, holy smokes. Look how spread out these earthquakes are. It's covering the entire Salton Sea lower area. I know someone mentioned about volcano buttes and whatnot down there. And I'm kind of looking into that. I'm kind of thinking about maybe taking a trip down there and checking this out. There's a lot going on, folks. A lot going on in the personal life right now. I got my son graduating from high school this coming week. And of course, the passing of my mom. I have to do some arrangements and whatnot this week as well. So I would love to go down there immediately. But that's not going to happen right now. But it will pretty soon after everything's done. So the movement here, just the wide swath of area is just a little concerning. So when it's really wide like this, I kind of look at the depths, right? If it's even if it's along a specific fault structure, say it's like a cluster of swarms or a swarm cluster in the San Jacinto Fault area. Let me double check, make sure I got everything good. Okay. I hate to be making an extended video and forget to click the record button like I've done many times, or the microphone's off. Woo! I like to look at the depths of these earthquakes here. That kind of gives you a general idea of what's going on in a way. And looking at these, they're not all consistent at all. They're not roughly around 5, 6, 7 kilometers. Some of these are deep. 15 kilometers for that 1.3 today, just a short time ago, looks like. Let's go and check out the rest of these. 19 kilometers. Even some surface rupture there, 1.4. So what I'm getting at here is there is a wide, broad area of a swarm going on, right? And it measures, we can pretty much include this area around this region because this wasn't here. All these little quakes here were not here. I'd say I could probably draw a circle right around here, okay? Right around this area. That's how wide this earthquake activity is occurring, okay? 10 miles, 15 miles or so, looking at this scale. Even if you were to avoid these or take out these little ones and just do this significant part here to this significant part up here, we're still looking at 10 miles. 10 miles of earthquake swarm here at variable depths below the surface is something to take heed about, be cautious about. And it doesn't look like it's calming down. Within the last hour, how many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so. But man, 852 earthquakes in here. We've seen swarms before, folks. There's no doubt. Salton Sea is famous for swarms. But after that 5.3, you know, something could be definitely brewing. Here is, let me go one day, 2.5 and above. Okay, this is just over the last 24 hours. I want to see if there's been any larger quakes following that 5.3. And I don't believe so, but a 3.6 there. So here's the 7 days, 2.5 and above. And the majority of these are just from yesterday. Even though they're in the yellow color last week, that's telling me because we're past that 24-hour period from when that 5.3 struck yesterday. So these, even though they're yellow, that's just beyond 24 hours ago, but yesterday. 99 earthquakes of 2.5 and above. Okay? That's a whole lot of movement and energy being released down there or built up. Or strain. A lot of strain going on. I can't say release of energy. I really don't think so. Right? Otherwise, you'd have a hole opening up in the ground or you know what I mean. I don't want to go way off into... but that's a lot. These are not just microquakes. This here is 2.5 and above. You can add on the 750 more microquakes or 700 more microquakes in this area, and that's a lot of movement. Lots of there's a 3.8. That's an upper 3. Lots of 2s, lots of 3s, and lots of quakes in general. 835 earthquakes, folks, today and yesterday. I still say be on guard out here, folks. I still think we're looking at some significant pressure out here along the west coast. And let me get rid of a lot of this movement here. We talked about this little linear fashion out here along the, it's actually north of the Garlock fault structure, but the linearness to it, right around these mountains here, you can actually see that line built up there. Kind of tells me that we're looking at, and I think we've seen that pressure coming from the northwest to the southeast. We kind of watched it with the Oregon activity kind of stretching down, moving down towards the south, Ridgecrest area, and then ultimately areas that are just built up enough to where they're starting to release earthquakes. And if you get enough built up pressure, folks, what happens to a fault that's sustained, say, centuries of strain, of built up plate tectonic pressure? It pops. It finally goes. Okay, and I'm talking about here the San Andreas Fault. We haven't seen any release of pressure on there. I think when it goes, it's just going to go. It's not going to be 4 or 5 earthquakes or a couple threes here and there. I think it's just going to go. I think it's when it does go, it's just going to go. But the swarming is significant because even the USGS here, if you guys remember, a few years ago, I can't remember exactly when, but they had issued a rare, kind of like an earthquake watch or earthquake warning from these folks, and that because of a swarming, because on this southern section of the San Andreas Fault, they kind of issued that rare warning, and nothing happened. The swarm went away. But even them they are aware of how stuff works, right? Aware of the dynamics of this general area. It's a very sensitive area, not only sensitive, but a highly built-up area of stress along this major plate boundary. Okay. Yes, other areas move up here to the north and to the east and to the west and down here to the south, but it's building pressure. It's not relieving pressure along the San Andreas Fault. When it relieves pressure, then we'll see that 8.0. Then we'll say, you know what? We've finally seen a little release in pressure along this fault structure here. But it's not, okay? It's building. This area along the mountains here, south of Bakersfield, just an obvious sign, right? You got the shear fault structure, and I'm really surprised we haven't seen any movement here. But due to the fact that it is a different type of fault structure, it's kind of jumping over that, if you will, the plate, or over this fault system, and all that general movement heading down here to the south, far as the pressure goes. This one here worries me too. This one, the Garlock fault structure, is very capable of producing a big one. And, who's to say this one won't trigger something bigger down here? You just never know. Kind of what happened down there in the New Zealand area. Remember the larger quake up here? I can't remember exactly, but don't quote me on it. There was a larger one up here, and then we had some larger ones here, or vice versa. I can't remember where it was. Also China. Remember we had some significant earthquake up here, a couple 6s, and then a bigger one just up here. So areas whenever you get a large earthquake, there's no doubt it can trigger, depending on the dynamics and how much stress has been built up in the regions and on these fault systems, there's no doubt one could affect the other, or they could both go. That's a fact. What else we got here, folks? Just watch this area very closely, Southern California. The rest of the Intermountain West, kind of quiet right now. You see that? Nothing really going on. Oklahoma, a couple scattered earthquakes out there in the Southern Plains. South America, a couple 4s. Most of the activity right now looks as though it's kind of even out a little bit. Even though we're seeing uptick around the Kermadec Trench area with that 5.7, I just don't see any end to the pressure and the earthquake activity out here along the west coast. I believe this one here was last night, 5.3 in Iran. But overall, folks, not... what is this? Okay, that's Iran. A little bit of movement out here in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Puerto Rico looking pretty quiet as well. Just a small handful of quakes there in that region. But be alert, West Coast. I think that's the hot spot for now, obviously. And watch the Cascade volcanoes. Let's see if we get any more swarming at other volcanoes, right? And you remember that map I just showed you guys with the seismograph reading. Mount Hood is down here. South, what do we got? South, east of Portland, I don't know, 40 miles or so. Remember when I showed you the Mount Rainier graph way up here? Oh, it picked up that 3.9 and even the 2.6 way up here. Over 100 miles or so. I'm guessing 100 miles. Well, we got 50, roughly about 100 miles from Hood to Mount Rainier. So I would like to see these guys, and maybe it's something I'm missing, but I'd like to see these guys make an adjustment to seismograph readings. They're seismograph stations, so we can get a little bit more detail on what's going on there at Mount Hood. Don't make me drive up there. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to jump off here and enjoy the evening. Hope everyone's having a good day. And I put together a small little video of some ocean scenes up there in southern Oregon and northern California, of these massive rocks sticking up out of the beach. Man, it's amazing to look at, and you think about how the heck did they get there? What formed these? But anyway, it's about a 3-minute video. I'll put a little description in the video below. I might upload that tonight, or I might wait till tomorrow, but it is coming out pretty soon with that. And also, we made it to 50,000 subscribers. I think that happened last night, because we're almost at 50.1. So I do appreciate everyone subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We are still doing the 50,000 subscriber giveaway. As you know, a lot of stuff going on right now. I will be putting out a video probably within a couple weeks of what to do, and how to sign up for that drawing, where I will be giving away prizes to 3 people. It's not just one prize. It's a little hand basket of goodies, if you will, to 3 people. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. It's just super bad timing with everything going on right now here on this side of the computer. But we made it to 50K, and we're gonna get that drawing out here as soon as I can. So look to that video. Make sure you click your notification bell so you can get notified when I send out videos. In the meantime, have a good night, folks. We'll chat to you guys a little bit later. What do we got out there? Puerto Rico, man. I was just talking about how quiet it is, right? And then all of a sudden, a 3.9. Woohoo! All right, folks. Have a good night. We'll chat to you a little bit later.